Welcome to Introduction to Mobile Development. In this lecture, we're going to take a look at the syllabus. We'll have separate lectures that discover the service level agreements and also that introduce each other, including introducing myself. A quick introduction of who I am, though. I have been at the University of Cincinnati as a night professor for about 14 years now, and I've been teaching the mobile development courses for basically since the inception. About 5 or 6 years ago, we had a course called Windows CE Mobile Development, and it was starting to get a bit dated. It's not the kind of Windows phone that you have now, like the Nokia Lumia. It was a much older generation that really didn't catch on a whole lot. And we had a course that discussed that. I proposed that we rewrite the course in something that fit better into our curriculum, and so I rewrote it as a BlackBerry course. And then BlackBerry also went the way of Windows. It kind of lost popularity. So I rewrote the course again as an Android course about 5 years ago, and I've been teaching it ever since. From that course, which is intended for students in major, we spawned this certificate program for people who are not in major. And the course that you're taking right now, Intro to Mobile Development, is a course that just discovers mobile development topics, things that are relevant, user experience, and a lot of things that you should consider before writing your own mobile app. So I wrote my own app, one that I kind of put together as an example for my classes, and I put it live on the Google Play Store. Now, I'll have plenty of time to talk about that throughout this semester. But a lot of the things that I noticed, if you look at the app that I have right now, I just released version 8. And if you look at the difference between version 8 and version 1, there are a lot of things that I wish I had thought about, that I wish I'd considered and planned better, that would have saved me a lot of time and probably would have made the app more usable for a wider audience. So a lot of those things are the things we're going to discover in this class. Okay, so office hours, I definitely, even though this is online, I want to make sure that I have one-on-one interaction with everyone in this class. It's very important. So feel free to meet with me. We can meet over email. We can communicate via email. We can communicate via Skype or Google Hangout. And most certainly we can communicate in person as well. I am teaching a Thursday night course this semester and would be more than happy to meet with you either before or after that course. Just send me an email enough in advance that I can make arrangements to either come early or stay late and meet with you. Um, I would really like to meet with everybody in this class at least once in a one-on-one fashion, whatever fashion that is. Okay, so the objective of this course. This is a class to introduce the basics of software development for mobile devices. It covers a survey of the current and future markets, characteristics of mobile devices, the development life cycle, and the various mobile app marketplaces, hands-on active learning required. This course does not require any programming. The assignments that we have are purely based on quality, usability, and design, but there's no programming required. So if you're not a native programmer, if your degree field is something different from programming, not to worry. You don't need to be a programmer here. As a matter of fact, one of the benefits of this class is the diversity of the people who take it and the ability of us to learn from each other. So our learning objectives are to discuss a little bit about the history of mobile devices, learn about the different types of mobile devices. So we really are starting to see, with these 2 points, we're starting to see a continuing evolution in mobile devices. When I was in college, not everybody had a cell phone. As a matter of fact, they were fairly uncommon because they were fairly expensive. And even at that, all they did were make calls. Generally, it was something where you didn't have an app running or something like that. Text messaging wasn't something we thought about. This is in the days when your phone rang, you answered it. Nowadays, I have a voicemail message on my phone that says, don't leave me a voicemail because I don't check it. Send me an email or send me a text message instead, and I'll respond a lot faster. So, really kind of a different generation. So we went from that to the age of the smartphone about 5, 6 years ago. And then we went from the smartphone now to the tablet and the watch and the TV and everything else. And one big thing we have to consider is that we don't just make our mobile app for one device, but we have to make it for multiple devices. So we have to think about that quite a bit. Explain the limitations and benefits of mobile devices. When I started at UC in the 2000-2001 school year, everybody wanted a web page. Now everybody wants a mobile app. And mobile apps are expensive to write. They take time, and you can't satisfy everybody. You can, for my own mobile app, I wrote it for Android. Now, this class, by the way, is device agnostic. We're not going to be Android specific, iOS specific, Windows specific, or anything like that. This is more about design. But in any case, I wrote my app for Android, released it, and people ask me all the time, can you make an iOS version? And my general response is, I would rather do a very good job once than a mediocre job twice. So let me do a good job on this first, then we'll think about other platforms. That's expensive. To have to write software twice, that's expensive, or three times, or four times. So we want to think about, is there really a benefit to it being a mobile app? That's the first question we want to ask. Does it use something on board the phone? Or is it just a glorified web page? Is it a web page that we can make look smart on different mobile devices? This is some of the stuff we need to consider in this course. We'll explain the difference between open architecture and closed architecture of mobile devices. Now, the examples here are Android and Apple, but they're just, it's shades of gray on how open they are. An Android program can't run on a non-Android phone. An Apple program can't run on a non-Apple phone unless we think about doing one of the multi-platform programming languages like Cordova. Uh, so these are the kind of different topics that we want to think about. Okay, talk about the mobile development lifecycle and explain user interface considerations for mobile devices. This is where I say we really want to think about this in advance. We want to think about usability early. While I mentioned that my app has gone from version 1 to version 8, one thing I can tell you that has changed is there are fewer buttons, not more. And that's something we want to think about in advance. How can we simplify the operation of our device? We don't want to complicate the user's life. We want to try to do things automatically for the user, giving them an option to opt out, but we don't want a very cluttered screen. And these are the things that we're thinking about. For our evaluation, we're going to have a quiz or a quiz question suggestion due every week. And the idea is that these will alternate weeks. So every other week we'll have a quiz. When we don't have a quiz, we'll have quiz question suggestions. The idea with quiz question suggestions is that you take the lecture material that you've watched, and then you put yourself in my situation. You think about a quiz that you would make, and what are 3 questions you would make on that quiz from that lecture. Today's lecture counts just as any other. So the SLA that we'll talk about in a bit, this syllabus, and our introductions, I'd like you to do quiz question suggestions for that. Quiz question suggestions will be due Thursdays at 9 o'clock, and the quizzes will be due Thursdays at 9 o'clock. So make sure you get them in by then. They can't be reoffered after that deadline. That's very strict. Once 9 o'clock passes, I can't open it up again. While this is an online class, we will certainly enjoy the flexibility of an online class, but I do have to warn you, traditionally, I've noticed that a lot of people kind of drop out of online classes more than an in-person class because I think there's a tendency to procrastinate or think that the class might be easier. I'll warn you, it won't be easier. We're going to cover the same amount of material we would cover if we were in person. We will have deadlines that will apply. So the best thing to do is to stick with these deadlines. And the reason why I make them weekly is to make sure that nobody procrastinates, or at least minimize that, keep everybody engaged. If we just made everything due at the end of the semester, probably a lot of people would wait till the last week and not really learn anything. But in this course, the lectures, the quizzes, and all of the due dates are spread out over the period of the term. We'll have an exam. It will be sometime in November or December. Might not be exam week. We'll see how the semester goes. It might well be exam week, but we'll see how things go. Then we're going to have two projects. One where you storyboard your application and you come up with an icon for your application and a Play Store or App Store description of your application. And that's worth 40% of the grade. That will be due towards the end of the semester. And then we'll also have a quality project, a quality and usability survey, where you will go out and look at three apps and judge what you think about them, what you think about the usability of them, the quality. You'll even do a rating on these apps. So uh, those are both on the course calendar in Blackboard and Canopy, and those are two big projects. Neither of them require programming. The closest to programming we'll get is just make a simple icon, but that's not really programming. It's just using software like GIMP or something like that and making an icon. And I have videos that will take us through that. The storyboard is an easy drag and drop kind of thing. You're not going to have to write any code. Okay, the lectures is this one will be available pre-recorded and delivered electronically on YouTube. I will typically get lectures up on Monday, but my real goal is Sunday. This week I was traveling all day Sunday and wasn't able to get any up, so I'm recording this on Monday and we'll get it up right away. But typically I will try to get them up by Sunday night. There might be a couple stragglers that reach over till Monday. I will release them in 2 week segments. So basically, uh, for a 1 credit hour course, that's about 50 minutes of video lecture per week. So about an hour and a half of video I'll release every other week, and then the quiz questions and the quizzes will be based on that. Okay, grading is the normal scale. Attendance, you're expected to watch the lectures and respond to the quizzes. Again, I stress don't procrastinate. Stay up to date with the quizzes and the quiz question suggestions. So we will have the quiz is a 5 question Blackboard quiz that reviews the material from the lecture. So we'll have that every other week. The quiz question suggestion, just watch the lecture. As you're watching it, think of maybe 3 questions you would recommend and submit them on Blackboard. I'll only accept them on Blackboard. And then what I will do is when I receive the quiz question suggestions, I will put them into an email and send them out to everybody who submitted quiz question suggestions. Then what I'll do is I'll make the quiz, and typically I'll try to involve a lot of the concepts that were discussed in quiz question suggestions on the quiz. So some, if they're really good, I'll just use them verbatim. I might do a copy paste. So while we do have a quiz every other week, you are going to have advance notice of what's going to be on the quiz to help you prepare and help you study. Okay, exam due later in the semester. And then assignments, we have the 2 assignments in the course. They're available on Blackboard. If you take a look, let's see. First of all, a couple things about Blackboard. We're using these modules. These modules are about 2 week increments. So you see we have a total of 6. Each of those is about 2 weeks worth of material. That includes a quiz and a quiz question suggestions. And then we'll have another one, which is an exam. So that's how we end up filling up the semester with 14, 15 weeks or so, is with these 2 week modules. The official calendar for the course is the Blackboard calendar. Now, this is not necessarily a static calendar. As the needs of our class change, we might modify some of these dates on the calendar. So don't think, well, I'm going to print this out and it's going to be this way forever. It's very likely that some of these due dates might change throughout the semester. But at any point in time, this calendar represents the best information about when things are due. So for our projects, the design and storyboard, which is worth 40% of the grade, right now we have that scheduled to be due November 20th. The quality and usability survey is due October 9th. So we have a little bit of time for those. We have a little over a month before those are due. You'll see everything else is a quiz or a quiz question suggestion, which is due at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Some of those times I need to tweak just a little bit, but All of our important due dates are going to be 9 on Thursday. Just remember, there's always something due 9 on Thursday. Put that in your calendar if you'd like. I also recommend, if you do have a mobile phone, get the Blackboard mobile app and set up alerts or find some way to alert yourself of the due dates, because it is very easy to forget them. But nonetheless, the design and usability is due in October. The storyboard and app description and prototype is due in November. We'll probably stick right around those months, although I say the dates might change just a bit, depending on the needs of our class. For academic integrity, I do take this very seriously. You're always welcome to verbally help somebody else in class, but the line that I draw on academic integrity is electronic duplication. So don't send somebody your program. Even if they say they're going to do their own work and they just want to look at yours as a reference, trust me, I'll get your same assignment 2 times, once from you and once from the other party. And for that reason, I don't care who wrote it, I don't care who copied it. Both parties are subject to academic dishonesty. I kind of treat it like the drug trade. You have to go after both the consumer and the distributor. So just be warned on that. If somebody asks you for a copy of your work, you're putting yourself at risk if you give it to them. You could do a very good job on your work and get an F. And I have had this happen many times before. And I have had students tell me, wait, that's not fair. I know I gave him my work, but I did it myself. Well, it doesn't matter. If you are providing your work to somebody else, then you're a party to academic dishonesty. Electronic communications. I will use Blackboard to communicate for the university's rules and for student privacy. I must communicate with you through my UC email address. So everything you send me and everything I send you will be through my UC email address. If you have any special needs, by all means, let me know. If you have a note from the Office of Disability Services, definitely let me know and I'll be happy to make accommodations. There is no textbook for this class. There will be web resources provided as needed. I used to have a schedule in the syllabus, and I decided to take that out this semester because, to be honest with you, the schedule now is our learning modules in Blackboard, and having it in the syllabus was a bit redundant because the Blackboard really is the official copy of what we're doing in class. So you see we have weeks 1 and 2, weeks 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, so on and so forth. This is the schedule of items that we are going to cover. Now, as I say, I probably will tweak this just a little bit because we actually have a few more weeks than we did over the summer. So I might nudge this a little bit around, maybe switch when we do the exam. But Blackboard is always where we have the most up-to-date information about our course. And with that, I'll wrap up the syllabus. The next discussion, we will talk about the service level agreements for the course. Thanks, and I'll see you then.